Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be talking about interior design trends that will be gone by 2026. I'm calling it right now. Let me just start by saying that, first of all, if you don't like trends, don't click on videos about trends, okay? So there's always someone in the comment section that's like, I hate trends, why do we just, I like what, and it's like, cool, then don't click on this video, it's just not for you. Not everything in this world is for you. Not everything on the internet is for you. But for those of you that do like trends and find them fun, I also want to say a word of caution. Just because these things are gonna be gone, it doesn't mean they're bad, okay? Trends come and go, because generally the life cycle of a trend is someone innovative kind of does something really cool. People go, oh, that's really neat. It hits social media, it gets super popular, and then it gets too popular and people go, we need to find something new. That's the life cycle of a trend. And that doesn't mean that they're bad or that they're good. They just, that's what they are. And so it's more about popularity than they necessarily are about good or bad, okay? So keep that in mind as we go through these trends that are going. Okay, but before I tell you about those trends that are gonna be gone next year, I wanna thank today's sponsor, which is Quince. Quince is really helping me upgrade my wardrobe this year, and they're also helping me get the perfect Christmas sweater so I don't have to wear the same one like I did last year. And this one is legit, 100% Mongolian cashmere. I'm in love. If you haven't heard of Quince, they offer sustainable and quality pieces at really affordable prices, whether you're shopping for clothes or home goods or everyday essentials. They do European linen apparel, they've got buttery soft, amazing bedding, they do cast iron Dutch ovens, which is amazing, they got Italian leather bags, they honestly do it all, and their prices are fantastic. And they ship to Canada. That's like a huge update that's just like in the last couple of months, which is amazing. So let me tell you about a few things that I got. I recently got the Pro Peak Performance Polo in navy, and also two beautiful cashmere sweaters. The first one here is this Mongolian cashmere sweater I told you about. It's in this like oxblood cranberry sort of color. I mean, this is legit. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It fits gorgeous, and it's at an amazing price point. I also got this Mongolian cashmere polo sweater in this navy color. It's unbelievably soft and makes me just look really polished and elevated, if I do say so myself. No one else is gonna compliment me, so I might as well compliment myself. What I love most about Quince is that they cut out the middleman to deliver amazing value. So if you wanna look at upgrading your wardrobe or any home essentials or anything you're looking for, go check out Quince. I'm gonna link them down in the description box down below, and click there also to get free shipping and 365-day return. So thank you, Quince, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, first on my list is gonna be Monotone Beige-On-Beige. Okay, he says this with a pretty beigey room behind him. As I always say on this channel, I am a hypocrite, so do as I say, not as I do. Listen, but Monotone Beige-On-Beige, there's nothing wrong with beige. There's nothing wrong with gray, even though we all hate on gray now, the millennial gray thing. We all hate on white, like the all white look, right? That was so popular. It was like, there's always a new neutral, and there's always a dominating your entire house in one neutral. And I think that that is potentially a bit of a problem, because I do think that good design needs some nuance and some contrast. Now, there's lots of ways that you can make a space feel interesting. You don't have to use color. So if you like beige on beige, that's great. But I do think these spaces were a bit samey. Like I said, everything was all white, then it was all gray, then it was all beige. And I think we were running out of neutrals, so I don't know what's gonna be next. But I think that the excessiveness and the popularity of, you know, everything being all beige just ultimately felt a little bit flat, and it's definitely run its course. And so I think it's kind of over. I'm gonna say in next week's video what's coming up next after, so I'm not gonna say in this video, so you'll have to subscribe or don't, up to you, whether or not, you know, you wanna see that video coming next week. But I'm gonna talk about what's coming next. But for now, the beige on beige look is just a little bit over. I think it's just overdone, it's tired, and people are looking for a little bit more color, different neutrals, something else that makes it a little bit more interesting. I don't hate this look necessarily, because I do think that you can make beige look really interesting with texture and shape. Like, there's a lot of interesting things that are out there, interesting brown and beige spaces. And there's also different tones, right? You don't have to just use the exact same color beige. You can use chocolate brown and tan and cream and ivory and all sorts of different colors that are slight variations on brown and beige, but they do feel a little bit more complex and interesting that way. But the beige on beige is getting a little tired because it's just overdone. And now we're over the Kim Kardashianification of design, and now it's like, let's add some personality, and dare we even suggest a little bit of color in our homes. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be overuse of fluting and reading. So reading is when it's like this, and fluting is when it's like this, but most people just call it fluting, so that's fine. I'm just gonna say fluting for this thing because that's what most people think of. It's a little bit excessive. This is also like the scallop trend. What is a scallop, but a reading on its side, or like a fluting on its side. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's food for thought for you. Because that's really the scalloped edges, the fluting, the reading, the curlies. It's been done, and it's been super, super popular for a little bit too long. And now we're sort of seeing it kind of fall away and becoming a little bit less relevant. I think you're gonna see a lot more interesting edge profiles coming up in the new year. I shouldn't say what's coming. Damn it, I already did that, I spoiled it. Stay tuned next week, who knows what I'm gonna say. But I would say that like interesting edge profiles are gonna be more important, and people are just doing different things as opposed to just doing the fluting and the reading over and over again. Also gonna lump in like the vertical slat walls in this, because that's really what this is it's like a fluting wall treatment that people put behind their beds, they put it in whatever. And this is sometimes the case with a lot of these interesting wall treatments, is people tend to just not put them in the right spaces, in the right walls. Like they pick a random accent wall and they just like paint it, or put a accent wall or a detail or wood slat wall or whatever. Or in the case of wood slat walls, they tend to put them in spaces that they don't belong. So this, I really started seeing these pop up in like these really neutral Japanese sort of inspired spaces, the Japandi spaces in the early 2020s. I think I did like the hot trend of 2020, 2021. I think a video from mine from like 4 or 5 years ago. I talked a lot about these because they were hot 4 or 5 years ago, but I think now they've sort of run their course because they're just everywhere. And again, they're being put in spaces that just don't make sense for the context of the room or the home that they're in, right? These made a lot of sense in those Japanese spaces because it's a detail that's been used for a very long time. This is not something that makes a whole lot of sense in like a basement suite or something in a fairly generic home or in a farmhouse or something like that, right? So I think that's the problem, is, you know, stuff like this, and this is true for a lot of fluting details that I see, just don't make a whole lot of sense anymore for the spaces they're in. They've run their course, and now they're gonna be out. Okay, next on my list is gonna be frameless glass box showers. I kind of like the last two, but I don't really like this one. This is the like, it doesn't have, it's just this giant like glass cube that sits in a primary bathroom, and they're usually gigantic, and they kind of look like wine fridges, you know what I mean? Like they look like a wine storage unit, but basically you put it in your bathroom. There's no shape, there's no interest, there's nothing happening here that feels a lot of, like, it doesn't feel interesting. These are usually excessively large. They usually have matte black or brass hardware on them, but other than that, they're just sort of floating in space. They've been very popular for the last few years. I think they've run their course. I think the people that wanted to put them in had a lot of fun with them because they were like gigantic, but I do think that they're no longer gonna be particularly relevant. I think we're seeing more interesting things being done in bathrooms than this, and it's not just about the size of the shower, but like the quality of the materials and incorporating the shower materials and color and whatever with the rest of the bathroom. So whether that's your tile or, you know, different surfaces that you have, whether it's your vanity, what have you, you're incorporating that into the style as opposed to just a big cube sitting in the center of the room that isn't well integrated into the rest of the space. Okay, next up, I'm gonna say what is out in 2026 is going to be the endless row of lights. I think the like the lighting fixtures over top of the kitchen island, like the Miss Lantern that we saw, like that little, she's a little done. She's a little farmhouse 2017 for me. And I think the endless row of the pendants, and I'm also gonna say, I said lighting fixtures because the can lights as well, I think are done. People are installing way too many can lights, and one does not perhaps need that much canned lighting in their kitchen. So the endless row of lights, I think, are a little bit tired, as well as over top of a dining table. I think there's just, these have definitely run their course. There is always a place for repetition in design, and I do think that's a wonderful thing, but I think we're replacing these with more interesting fixtures that I'm gonna talk about next week. But I do think that this is a little bit dated at this point, just because there's more interesting things that you can do. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be excessive bold marble. Okay, the word excessive is key here, okay? There is a point where there can be too much Russian oligarch marble in your home, okay? You can have too much of a good thing. Marble is beautiful. Graphic marble is beautiful. Excessive though, and now you're starting to hit your limit and it's just no longer as popular as it used to be. I never liked this one because I always think that with such a strong statement like bold marble, which is shouting at you, don't get me wrong, there's a place for that, but I think it needs to be balanced with things that feel a little bit more subdued, a little bit quieter. So that can be something like tile, that can be wood, right? That can be just a stone maybe that's a little bit more neutral, something like a Carrara marble or something like that, that is a little bit more subdued, so that the Violas of the world can sort of pop and make a statement. But I think what people do is they kind of want the look at how much money I have bathroom, and what they think the way to accomplish that is put slabs of stone on every surface. And I think designers really bought into this because it made their clients happy, and they thought, I have unlimited budget, I have an idea, let's just cover every surface. Let's do it on the ceiling, let's do it on the floor, let's put it on the walls, let's put it in the vanity. And it just becomes so massive and so excessive that I think people just got tired of looking at it because everything was screaming at you, and we're a little bit over that. So I think that trend, maybe this is a bit wishful thinking on my part. These lists always are, by the way, of things that I want to go, but I'm hoping this one's a little done. Pick your moments with your loud stone. Okay, next up on the list, which is also wishful thinking on my part, is gonna be Blobby Furniture. So we've seen blobs be popular for the last few years, and I don't love them. I never really have. I will say there's a time and a place for an organic shape, okay? I'm not above an organic shape. I do love it. I think like cute curves, things that are like a little bit of a wave, that can be fun. You know, you can't really see my light fixture because like how it's angled, but like it's got a little bit of a curve in there. It's got a little bit, okay, we can have fun. Like I'm not above it. Not everything needs to be a straight line. I understand that. But some of these blobs that are just like melting off the wall, these light fixtures, I don't like those. I don't love the coffee tables that are squiggly wigglies. I think these have just been a little bit too playful, and now I think they're a little bit excessive and overdone. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, like what happens with these trends is someone starts out doing them, they become super, super popular, and then inevitably people get sick of it, they start hating on it, there's a backlash against it, or there's just these trends run out of people that like this stuff. So Blobby Furniture, really fun for some people, some of y'all really enjoy it, but there's haters like me on the internet that are saying that it's done, so that's a problem. That kills the mood. And also, people just, you run out of people to serve a blobby coffee. Sorry CB2, you run out of people to serve a blobby coffee table to. Sorry Urban Outfitters, you've run out of people to serve a blobby clock to, or whatever. You know, I don't know what they're cooking up these days, or a squiggly candle. We just run out. We've run out of people, and so now we've moved on. Okay, next up on my list is gonna be white boucle. Now, a lot of you, I can hear you cheering. I can hear you cheering from your phone in the subway that while you're watching this video. Listen, the white boucle trend was super, super popular. I kind of was originally like a hater of boucle, and then I sort of warmed up to it over time, and I've lost some people. I'm not saying I love it, but I am saying that it is cute in some spaces. Now, is it the most practical material? No. Is it a scratching post for your cat? Absolutely. Is it probably not good for like a main sofa or someplace like a high traffic zone? For sure. But could you put a cute little stool with some boucle on it and call it a good time? Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's necessarily a bad material in that way, if you use it properly. But white boucle has run its course, because again, you got a lot of people that hate it, and you've also got a lot of people that have just run out of places to put white boucle. Like if you wanted it, you probably got it by now. It's also, with these trends, you see them sort of move through their life cycle. And what started out as really high-end, you know, like Gwyneth Paltrow-y, all of a sudden has turned into, look at this white boucle, which isn't even boucle, and it shows up like at the Walmart clearance section. Not that anybody's above a Walmart clearance section, but when you're buying a fabric that is kind of a luxury fabric and it's done on the cheap, it's not going to be the same thing. And I think we just all need to understand that like, sorry, it's just not the same. And so the material looks worse and performs worse because of the life cycle, and we're on the tail end here. And so then people hate on it even more because it makes even less sense than it did 4 years ago when it first came on the scene. So white boucle has run its course. Colored boucle is not necessarily, but I think white boucle, it's time to sort of like phase out a little thing. Again, none of these are going away completely. So you're still gonna see them in retailers, but just not as much as you did before because, you know, that's the life cycle. Everything with birth comes death, okay? So the death of white boucle, maybe sadly, maybe not, might be here. Okay, next up, this one's gonna hit you all right in the heart, and that is black hardware. I know, was black hardware timeless? Was it not? we didn't really know. It was the jury was out. Black hardware is never fully, truly ever going away, I think. Like, it's always gonna be there as an option. But I do think that the high contrast look of black hardware, it's kind of like black windows. That's a whole thing. Like, I've personally, the black window trend is like everywhere. And I find that when you're dealing with these metals, or you're dealing with things like windows or fixtures or drawer pulls or lighting fixtures, they draw the eye. These metals typically draw the eye. And so much, the problem with this black stuff is that it draws the eye immediately over, especially if it's high contrast. And if you have a space, if you want a white wall, or you want white, which is the most common color used in interior design, maybe only brown could possibly rival it because wood is used so often. But white is a very commonly colored used in interior design, and black and white is always going to draw the eye. Now that could be a wonderful thing. If you want a black and white checkerboard floor when you walk in your home, that could be wonderful. You may want that contrast to attract the eye, but I think if you're looking for a space that doesn't have your eye walk around with like pinball basically as you go off and look at all these different fixtures, then black hardware might not be the look. It's being replaced by different metals. And again, you all know that I'm not always a huge fan of the metal trends, but because just choose the metal that you like that fits the design of the space. But that's the thing. A lot of the spaces that are being designed now, there are different materials that are becoming more popular used. I think the farmhouse look with everything being white, with the black fixtures, the black lighting, the black windows, the black hardware, that was very, 2016 to 2019 kind of era. And if you still love it and you still have it, then that's fantastic. You can totally have a good time there. But I think it's becoming less popular than it was. Okay, next on my list is open floor plans. Listen, I think that this is a really good example of just because it's a trend or it's a trend on the up or the down doesn't mean you have to care, right? It can be fun to learn, but I think that open floor plans are less popular. Now that's not to say that they're going away, because I think that both open floor plans and a closed or traditional or broken, whatever you want to call it, floor plan is also great. I think both of them have their uses, and they're for different types of people that live different lifestyles, right? A lot of people love it. It's great for entertaining. It's great for keeping an eye on the kids. It's great for interacting between different rooms, but closed is also really good for separating out smells and noises and privacy and like all sorts of wonderful things. But I think the thing is, and I want to kind of drive the point home here, is that open floor plans were just like the standard for like many, many, many years. And so when I say they're like out, it means they're losing popularity to traditional, a closed floor plan, but it ain't going away. Like, it's not done. It's just less popular than it was. I don't think that these big wide open spaces, especially ones with double height ceilings and like the whole home basically is exposed, those are becoming less popular. Now, that's not to say, as I said, they're gone. I actually love an open floor plan. My new home is going to be fairly open. I think, and for a lot of you, you're going to go, that would drive me crazy. Good, you don't have to live there. Obviously, in the end, you just got to do what's right for you, and I got to do what's right for me. So, I do think that we're going to see less open floor plans and a little bit more walls and dividers and things sort of mixed up, rather than having this entire gigantic great room with a gigantic kitchen and a, double heighted ceiling. It's gonna feel, I think people are looking for smaller and more intimate spaces. Now that can also be achieved. You can have an open floor plan in a smaller home. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to feel so closed in, but I just think like people aren't looking for that gigantic open spaces, right? I just find like Studio McGee, for example, like no shade to her obviously, but like the spaces in Utah, like these houses are massive and they're all really open floor plan. And I think it's gotta feel really echoey. Heating, it's gotta be a disaster. I don't know if you have to worry about that really so much in Utah, but maybe you do. I don't know the weather patterns of Utah, but like, I just think these are not as popular as they used to be. Still popular, just not as. Okay, next up is gonna be white and gray marble. So white and gray marble, in my opinion, is timeless, okay? So I'm just gonna flat out say that. So I do think that white and gray is super, super popular, but I think what's killed it, or at least what's made it overdone, which is why people are looking at more colorful stones or different types of stone. First of all, it's just white and gray in general is on the decline. Just a fact, like we're seeing more color. The beige obviously took over. The neutral girlies, they sort of took over from the white and gray. So like, obviously that's where they are. And then you got a lot more color and whatever. So white and gray in general is just less popular, which is why you're seeing these white and gray stones, like the Carrara marble, statuary, whatever. Those are all a little bit less popular than they used to be, say 5 to 10 years ago. I do still think it's timeless. It might be on the down a little bit, but still it's always a good idea. Here's also what's killed it though, is that the porcelain slab 12 by 24 builder grade tile, the super glossy one, the porcelain, it's not actually real. It's a porcelain tile with a printed look of white and gray marble. I think that's made white and gray marble look cheap. So in my opinion, please see my video I did a while ago that was, I really enjoyed it. Not all my videos are winners, I'll be honest, but this one was actually pretty good. And it's called Honest Materials, right? And what I talked about in the Honest Material video was that it's important to actually just let materials be what they are. And the problem is that white and gray marble on its own, and like a honed finish or a polished finish as well, whatever your preference, gorgeous. But the imitation stuff made it look cheap, because that stuff is cheap and it's not good, and you can buy that for a few bucks a square foot as opposed to the marble, which is timeless and gorgeous and amazing, and nature always does it best. So white and gray marble, less popular than it used to be because it got caught up in the color trend. The neutral palette has shifted and the colors have shifted, and because the cheap knockoffs made it look cheap. That's the thing. It was like a Louis Vuitton purse, might have been gorgeous, but then there were so many knockoffs that you're just kind of like maybe a little bit over it. Okay, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link here to the video that I'm gonna do next week. I'm gonna go forward in time, and I'm gonna link it here. If you're seeing this in the first week when this goes live though, I'm gonna link to something else, but come back and go check out that video because I'm gonna talk about all of these things again, but we're gonna talk about what's actually in for 2026 and beyond, okay? So look forward to that one, and I will see you all in that video. Thanks a lot, bye.